This is the ball game. This is what you must always be focused on this year. And I'm going to explain to you why that's so important. We must continue our efforts to participate in Republican Party operations, meaning central committees. We need to restore our political processes. We need to have real political parties. We were talking in the back of the room and they're saying, you know, why are all these people switching races and stuff like that and there's only one person left? It's called a rigged election. It's called don't believing in your vote. We don't trust you to pick the right candidate. We have to pick them for you, okay? So we must participate. And then we've got to deal with the Senate race, governor races, and other races, okay? So we're going to take these one at a time. This is a cartoon that came off the line the other day. Yeah, I'm going to turn this light on so you guys can see this a little easier here. So read this cartoon. I think it's big enough where you can... Okay, does that help you read it? So he says, this is the FBI and DOJ. He says, maybe we use questionable methods and unverified evidence to obtain surveillance authority from a FISA court in an attempt to prevent Donald Trump from being elected president. But let's face it, making that kind of information public might do lasting damage to people's faith in federal law enforcement. Right? Right? Now, this is serious stuff. Okay, this is serious stuff. There's a very important book. Any guys big readers? Some of you guys like to read books? Help you guys? Okay. There's a book called The Intimidation Game by Kimberly Strassel. You've seen her on Fox. She's from the Wall Street Journal. The Intimidation Game. It came out during the 2016 election. The book, I'm in the book. The book was about the IRS targeting the Tea Party. Okay? But when I read the book, it really hurt me. It really scared me. It was really the most frightening political book that I've probably ever read. Because Kimberly Strassel, and I cannot even imagine how she wrote this book and how she had the sources she needed to have to write this book. But in this book, what she literally shows is that the IRS was just one version. The DOJ and the FBI, this is not anything unusual. You will see the same, you're about to see the same thing in the State Department, right? Did you hear from Nunes today that they're talking about the State Department? Okay? That they got, you know, memos from the State Department. They're just like the memos from the DOJ. Okay? The bottom line is the Barack Obama's administration literally weaponized every single part of our government to attack you. To attack individual people, businesses, capitalism, and all of our institutions. From churches to universities to, you know, whatever you can name. The Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever you want. The intimidation game. So when you hear Sean Hannity saying, oh, this is only 15%, right? 15%. Believe him. Believe him. This corruption goes so deep, and there's so many people involved, folks. This is going to take years. And the tipping point right now was that FISA memo. Okay? Because if you think about it, all right, I'll give you the straight scoop. In the IRS targeting, there were lots of hearings, right? We saw hearings upon hearings. You know, Lois Lerner, the head of the IRS, up there, hearings. But it never went anywhere, right? Remember, Congress, referred Lois Lerner and those guys to the DOJ for criminal prosecution. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. You know why? Anybody know why? I heard the name. John Boehner. John Boehner was Speaker of the House. John Boehner hates your guts. What was the last quote he had about the Tea Party? You know, we were a bunch of fools or something. I was right. The same one we called Jim Jordan, you know, a foul name. Okay? John Boehner hates our guts because we completely disrupted his little party, his little cabal, right? We dared to run for office without his permission. We dared to elect people who didn't agree with him. Okay? So what happened with the IRS is that John Boehner did not allow the Congress to go as far as they've gone in this FBI DOJ thing. And Mitch McConnell, there's a guy who's a radio host who was a former CIA type guy. Forget his name. He's not on as frequently as some of the other people. But he recounted a meeting that he actually worked for the RNC at one point. And he recalled being in a meeting with all the Republican senators, with Mitch McConnell, where they talked about how they never had any intention of actually charging the IRS or costing it Lois Lerner, that this was just great politics. And they would just keep this story alive through to the elections because they would win a lot of seats, but they had no intention of finding out the truth. That's the truth, folks. The federal government, okay, and this is something I put in a Facebook post just the other day. We're all upset because it looks like these guys tried to steal a presidential election from Donald Trump in 2016. But here's the truth. Barack Obama stole the presidential election in 2012. He stole the election, folks. The Tea Party targeting was to do one thing, to keep us from doing what we did in 2010. That's what we surprised the heck out of them in 2010, and in 2011 they had a meeting and the IRS targeting is what came up. The goal was to shut us up enough so that Barack Obama could win, and they did just enough to squeak by. They stole that election, flat out. But there's been no investigation of that, has there? Okay? So then, you know, what do? They stole the primary election from Bernie Sanders. Literally cheated him out of it, right? And then they moved on and tried to rig the presidential election. So guess what? This isn't new. This is our quote-unquote government. These are the people who think they rule over you. These are the ruling class, okay? And we must demand equal justice under the law. And that means people get charged equally for the crimes they commit. And if you don't think there's been any crimes, you must be, what's his name, Schiff, the Democrat, right? He gets my Baghdad Bob trophy for accuracy in reporting, right? He's Baghdad Bob about, you know, there's nothing in the memo, nothing to see. Okay, well there's this funny little thing called facts, okay? And if you notice, the whole Russia thing could all be anonymous leaks to the New York Times, right? Washington Post, every Friday a new story. No facts, just innuendo, right? That's all there was. Because they can't exist in a world of facts, right? They have to be where there's uncertainty. And so what's great for us is that we got this memo out, there's factual information in it, they're going to put out their bogus counter proposal, and you know what's great for us? People are going to say, well, they say it's not true, they say it is true, we better release the whole FISA transcript to find out the truth. That's what we want. The more that comes out, the more justice there will be. Because there have been crimes committed. And so all of us need to be focused. We cannot accept no one being charged. We can never accept that. And you will, so if you see me messaging, and you guys did a great job. We called the White House. I sent out an email that said, here's the numbers. I want you to call the White House today. This is what I want you to say. I want you to call Congress. I want you to call the FBI and the DOJ. There was a reason for that, okay? Because I had information from people in Washington that we had to create some pressure, okay? But that is one thing we're never going to compromise on. This is our time to get our country back. Because if you don't get rid of these people, then no laws matter, do they? What does it matter who we elect? If they could just ignore the laws that they don't like and impose the laws on us that they do like, that's called being a slave. That's what it is. It's called being a slave. So we need to fight this fight. And it's a very serious fight. And thankfully Donald Trump is in the White House, and hopefully we're going to get a second special counsel. You may have noticed in my press release that I sent out when the FISA memo came out, I named some people, right? I said, we demand a second special counsel, and we recommend Joe DiGenova, right? DiGenova. Have you seen DiGenova on Fox TV? Former prosecutor? That's who I'm recommending as a second special counsel. Okay? Because we've got to get someone who isn't a swamp creature, or we're not going to get any justice. Okay? You may have heard Jim Jordan in his most recent quotes, because I kept arguing with Jim and saying, listen, because over Christmas we were talking about the IG, the Investigator Generals from the FBI and the DOJ, and whether that report would be okay, or whether we needed a second special counsel. And so Jim and I were talking about it, and I said, well, Jim, all I remember is that the IG for the IRS basically just pretended that no crime was committed and there was just some management problems at the IRS. I said, there was no real investigation there. And he said, that's true. He said, so we need a second special counsel. I said, again, common sense people, right? We're not politicians, common sense people. So Jim says, yeah, we need a second special counsel. And I said, well, who do you have in mind? Total silence. We never thought of that. We had no idea. I said, Jim, if you don't tell them who you want, they're going to give you another Mueller. You can't keep being on my TV saying, we demand a second special counsel, without saying that it better be Bill, you know, or Andrew McCarthy, okay? Because, and I actually had read, I said Winning Bigly. I mean, you guys read the book by Scott Adams, the cartoonist who supported Trump, called Winning Bigly? Oh, write that down. Write that down. I read that book because he will explain to you why Trump is as good as he is. He will tell you why saying little Marco works and low energy Jeb. He will explain to you what that's about. It's very interesting, and it's all based on science, okay? And that book helped me a lot in my messaging. But in that book, one of the things it taught me is that if Jim Jordan would say, we need a second special counsel, and it needs to be this person, or this person, you know what happens? Everybody argues about which of the three people they want, and not about whether you need a second special counsel. See? Okay? So you may have heard Jim, just, was it Monday or whatever, we saw him on TV, and he started to take one of my other lines I kept telling him. He said, we need a second special counsel, and we need somebody from like Oklahoma or Kansas, or someone who's outside the swamp. Because I kept saying, you know, we need someone from outside the swamp, right? They're not going to kill the swamp creatures if they're from the swamp. So this fight is raging. You should send Jim Jordan a thank you note. The amount of courage he has shown. Certainly Nunez, you know, certainly Meadows, you know, DeSantis, you know, these guys, Trey Gowdy, because the pressure they have been under is unbelievable. Now, I had heard, but I haven't confirmed this, but I heard when McCabe got booted from the FBI, the second in charge, I heard that he was quoted somewhere saying, if they take my pension, I will burn down the FBI. Okay? Now think about that. Wow. Think about that. If we have a second special counsel, and we start to bring these people in, and we start to make a deal, they're going to spill their guts. And when they spill their guts, folks, you're going to see 100 congressmen not run for office again. You're going to see half the Senate not run. Because they're all dirty. They're all dirty as sin. And the reason this has been, the reason the Democrats are going so berserko is because they all know they're dirty. And guess what? We know you're dirty too. All right? And we're damn tired of it. We want our government back. And we want these people held accountable. And now, will that go up to Barack Obama? The bottom line is, it should. My guess, it will not because of race. Okay? And will we ever see Hillary Clinton in prison? I don't know. But you know what? What I'd take in exchange for that, let's take all their money to use it to pay off the national debt. And I just want to see Hillary Clinton have to drive her own car for once. That'd be fun? How's this work? How's this work? I haven't driven a car in 30 years, she said. Right? Because we've been paying for them to drive limos, drive around. We'll see how far this goes, okay? But there's serious, serious justice to be given out. And we're going to work like heck to get that. Okay. Our second point was we have to hold the House and the Senate, right? So this is from Bloomberg. It's just January 29th. All signs point to big Democratic wins in 2018.
Fake news.
Okay? Fake news. I love it. It is fake news. But it's our job to make it fake news. Okay? It's our job because they're trying to convince themselves that they can do that. And here's why. I came across this chart today. I thought it would be very helpful to you. This is President's midterm party losses for all